All right, today we're diving into an idea from classic spiritual wisdom that's, well, it's pretty counterintuitive. We're talking about the idea that those profound spiritual experiences, the very things a lot of people are searching for, might not actually be a gift. They might be a trap. I mean, just look at that question. It's a big one, isn't it? Our source material for this explainer basically forces us to look it right in the eye. What if those moments of incredible clarity, those visions, those feelings of divine connection, what if they have a hidden dark side we're not seeing? So, first things first, let's get on the same page with a key term from the text: supernatural apprehensions. Yeah, it sounds a little old-fashioned, I know, but it's really just a catch-all term for the whole range of extraordinary spiritual experiences. Everything from a full-on cinematic vision to just a subtle feeling that you're getting some kind of divine message. Okay, so what's the number one danger here? According to the text, it's something we're all very familiar with: pride. But the way it shows up in this context is super subtle and honestly, pretty insidious.
The logic here is just fascinating. The argument isn't that the vision itself is bad, but that it creates this opportunity for pride to sneak in. See, the person who has a vision is immediately confronted with the thought, wow, I must be special. I must be important. It can create this hidden self-esteem, a quiet satisfaction with yourself that the person who doesn't have these experiences is just, well, they're free from that particular temptation.
And this quote just nails where that hidden pride can take you. The text makes this really powerful comparison to the Pharisee who's busy thanking God he's not like all those other sinners. You can get so pleased with your own spiritual goods, with your experiences, that you start to feel superior. And that creates this huge spiritual divide between you and other people. But the dangers aren't just all in your head. The text warns about a very real external threat, and that is the possibility of being actively deceived by something outside yourself. Man, that is such a memorable line. The source is reminding us that real deception hardly ever shows up with horns and a pitchfork, right? It comes disguised as something beautiful, something true, an angel of light. A gorgeous vision or a really comforting feeling can seem so right, so divinely sent that you completely let your guard down. So how does this whole deception actually work? Well, our source lays out a pretty clear 4-step playbook. First, the deception mixes a lie in with the truth. Then it attaches this powerful feeling of certainty to that mixture, so it feels absolutely real. The third step is the kicker. It gets you addicted to the pleasure of the experience itself. You start to crave the feeling of the vision more than any truth it might contain. And at that point, well, the soul is pretty much ready to believe whatever it's told. So you've got this pride, you've got this potential for deception, this attachment to the experience. Where does it all lead? According to the text, all of these things build up and become one giant spiritual problem, a barrier to true divine union. And why is it a barrier? This quote really gets to the core of the whole argument. The idea is that the divine is infinite, it's beyond comprehension. It can't be contained in any specific form or image or idea that our little human minds can cook up. So when you cling to one beautiful vision, one sublime feeling, you're clinging to a finite thing. It's like finding a beautiful seashell on the beach and thinking you're holding the entire ocean. And to make this really concrete, the text gives us this brilliant analogy. Think of all these visions and feelings as the king's servants. Now, the servants might be incredible, they might be impressive, but they're not the king. And the more time you spend just staring at the servants, the less attention you're actually paying to the king they're supposed to be leading you to. You start to value the messenger way more than the message itself. Okay, so if visions and awesome spiritual feelings are so potentially dangerous, what's the alternative? What are we supposed to do? The source is totally clear on this. The safer, the truer path forward is the path of humility. The text really boils its whole argument down to these two powerful truths. First, that real spiritual growth isn't measured by how amazing your experiences are, but by how deep your humility is. And then the second one, get this, it's a pretty radical claim. A single, small, genuine act of humility is actually worth more than all the heavenly visions you could ever have. This just completely flips the script, right? The goal isn't collecting cool experiences anymore. It's about the simple, day-to-day practice of virtue. And that really brings this whole thing back home to us right now. This isn't just some dusty old theology. It's a real psychological challenge. It makes us ask ourselves, what are the visions in our own lives? The peak experiences, the cherished ideas we have about ourselves.
the accomplishments we cling to that define who we are. So the final question this explainer leaves us with is right there, and it's a powerful one to sit with. What are you holding on to that might actually be holding you back?